then you get exposure at the World Ag Expo. And so this is where we'll recognize the top leaders in innovation in hemp. And some really great entries have come in. We've got entries from 65 countries and a lot of really, really neat innovations that are happening around the world. So it's great because it's a global challenge, and it's really neat because it gets a worldwide stage there. You've got over 100,000 farmers that will participate in the World Ag Expo in Tulare, and that's in February. So that'll be on the 8th through the 10th.
All right, I think we are live on the iHemp Hour. My name's Dave Craybill. I'm with iHemp Michigan. A great group of guests again today. iHemp Michigan's mission is to educate, inform, and promote the research, development, and cultivation of industrial hemp here in Michigan. So let's start with some news. Mike Brennan, do you have a little bit of news to get us kicked off?
Right. Well, one of the interesting stories is we're all here in Michigan. Remember Pistons great Ben Wallace, great rebounder, defensive player. Well, now he's in the cannabis business, or at least he's getting ready to move into it. He's cut a deal with Jackson-based Rare, and he's going to be doing a variety of products. They signed a licensing agreement with them, so Rare would do the growing, processing, and all that jazz. And then Ben Wallace's name would be on that. And so that's kind of cool. I mean, a lot of these professional folks are getting into it. Some of the former Lions football players have gotten into it. But certainly, Michigan adult use cannabis, I don't know if the sales are going to be $2 billion this year, but we'll be somewhere in that vicinity. And then according to the Marijuana Regulatory Agency, they're thinking it'll double next year. So it's taking off, really becoming a major industry. Also, I wanted to mention, speaking of MRA, the Marijuana Regulatory Agency, they've just scheduled a meeting for it's the social equity education session. One of the things that they're trying to do is people of color are not really very well represented in the marijuana industry in Michigan. About 5% of people are either Latinos or blacks, but the rest of it pretty much are all white people. And so they're trying to encourage more of them to get into it, show them how to do it, educate them, help them with funding and whatnot. Because if you look at the people who have been impacted by the war on drugs, about 40% of the people in jail are people of color who have some kind of marijuana bust, or they have that on their record. So they're trying to rectify some of that stuff right now. And so that session will be a Zoom meeting, which everybody's doing these days, on Thursday, October 28th. Details you can be found at mimarijuanareport.com. And let me do a real quick shameless plug, because we were just talking about this before the show. For the folks in iHemp right now, on November 1st, Michigan Marijuana Report is going to be launching a cannabis CBD holiday gift guide, which will include a weekly newsletter going out every Monday to our audience of about a little over 2,000 subscribers. But more importantly, our social media reach is a lot bigger, because I have lots of relationships with cannabis and hemp folks, including, iHemp, where I post to their Facebook pages, and there we reach about 40,000 people. So we can't guarantee you'll make a lot of sales, but we can guarantee we'll help you build your brand. And so I just want to mention that we're giving a discount to iHemp members. Normally we charge for the 2-month period, 2-month runs, $600, $300 a month, which is actually, we don't sell anything for $300 a month. So this is actually a good deal, but even a better deal for iHemp members. We're reducing that to $550, save $50. Hey, what the heck, right? And if you want more details, you can just hit me up at mike@mimarijuanareport.com. Back to you, Dave.
Very good, Mike.
$50 is $50, man.
Hey, you can take Becky out to dinner on that, right?
Maybe.
Maybe. She's an expensive date, is she? Yeah. So.
Yeah. I'm not a cheap date.
Yeah, she's in the background there.
So, Blaine, it's good to see you made it out of the dentist chair okay. Congratulations.
Yeah, my face isn't too swollen, so it's all right.
No. So, what do you have some news to kick us off, and then we'll get to our guest?
There's a whole bunch of news that's come out this week. So where do we start? Well, let's start with some of the very good news to start with. This just came out today. I read this. Pepsi company, Rockstar, turns to hemp seed to help consumers unwind. Pepsi company is introducing Rockstar Unplug, a functional beverage line that contains hemp seed. The company announced at the National Association of Convenience Stores recently, NACS show. The drink is described by the beverage and snack giant as a way to encourage relaxation and improve your mood. So there you go. So now everybody can get some little Rockstar Unplugged. The beverage is available in 3 flavors: blueberry, passion fruit, and raspberry cucumber. Not so sure about that. I like raspberry, but I'm not so sure about raspberry cucumber. The company did not say when it would be available. And they did talk about, in the article, they introduced this into Germany last year, so it must have went well there, and so they're going to bring it here. So look forward to your favorite convenience store carrying Pepsi-Cola's Rockstar. We might see if we can't talk to them, see if we can't get some of that for the expo, Dave. That might be kind of good, kind of interesting.
Speaking of the expo, now that a nice segue into that, you might remind folks that's coming up actually not that far away anymore. January is coming fast. So.
It is not. Yep, January 21st and 22nd at the Lansing Center. Friday night, the 21st, will be the Hemp Awards. So everybody wants to make that. That's going to be the fun party. You can enter your anything made of hemp products, whether it be wood, whether it be CBD, whether it be a food product. We're also going to have, it was exciting, we just added this for this year, the King Cola or Giant Cola Award. So you can bring in your really nice looking colas, and we're going to judge them by weight and by length and by structure of the bud, kind of the crystals in it. We won't be smoking in that day, but if you leave the samples, I'm sure that we will properly get them disposed of, not a problem. So that's going to be coming up, a lot of fun time. We'll talk more about that a little later at the end of the show. Michigan hemp farmers encouraged to participate in the first federal hemp agriculture and production survey. So anybody that registered as a grower and certified at the FSA office, which you should have done, will be getting a survey. And they want those back by October 25th, so that's just next Monday. So I'm not a grower this year, so I did not receive one. But please take time, fill that out. It's important for future benefit, future help with hemp industry. If you fill that out, then we'll have some data that they'll be able to go on, and that'll help us all out. Let's see, what else have we got going on today? Remember that the Delta 8 products are now regulated by MRA, so you need to be going through the MRA for that. The processor handler license renewal, I did get that in the mail. They're asking for my $1,350, so we'll be doing that real soon. So also one thing interesting in here that I read, if you are a processor, you can request growers' names, emails, and addresses, I think, if you're a grower or if you're a processor. If the grower allowed that information to be shared. So I know that we all want to try to reach out to those people with services and products we have. So if you're a processor, you're able to request that information. So, and Dave, I'll probably have a little bit more at the end of the show to cover, but we've got a lot to talk about today. So the first thing I want to do is I want to make sure we mention our sponsors. We want to thank them. You can see them on my screen behind me. We want to thank Hemp Brokerage, Veritas Laboratories, iHemp Manufacturing, U.S. Hemp Wholesale, that's Jeff Gallagher and crew, Neogen, and Scott Colville Crop Insurance, the Hemperer, and Adams Independent Testing, and then Lakeland Hemp. Can't quite see with my shirt, can you? Oh, there we go, go that way. Lakeland Hemp was the other one. So I had a great time up there. I want to thank again, a big shout out to Dennis on that, and Michael Toohey. What a fun time, what a beautiful day up there it was with the color tours. So Thank you, everybody that played along and did that. And we met a new friend up there. Gene, if you're listening today, we meant to get your name, contact information, and I forgot to do that. So if you're listening, how about shooting us your name, address, phone number, that kind of stuff, so we can get you signed up for the emails and get you more involved in the hemp and Michigan hemp industry. So,
did you make it to the masquerade ball at the Bear? Did you guys get a chance to do that?
No, I did not. I had to myself. I was running a lot of hemp stalks I had up there down to where we do our processing for the hemp, for the make the herd, the bedding and stuff. So I was not able to. But I know Michael Toohey went because he posted some pictures, and it sure looked like a fun time. So we're going to have to put that on the list for next year.
Yeah, I'm sure Heidi will do that again. I think she did pretty well with that event. So
good. Well, people want to get out and mingle and play and dress up a little bit. So yes, sir. So, Dave, I think with that, let's go right into the show.
Let's go to Montana.
Okay, let's go.
John's out there. Yeah, John and I spent some quality time out at Southern Hemp Expo. Got to know John a little bit, and he hails from Montana. And we brought John in to talk about this Global Hemp Innovation Challenge. Now, John's been active in the hemp industry for quite a while. Farming, forestry, marketing, sales, textiles, family history in mining, farming, forestry. So he consults with both hemp and wool growers. He's got a lot going on. So John, welcome.
Yeah, hi. Great to be here, guys. Hi, everybody. Good to see you again.
Hey, John.
Then our other guest is Chuck Vollmer. And Chuck has an interesting program, Jobonomics. So we're going to dive into that and learn about those initiatives to get these micro businesses up and running. So, John, you want to kick things off?
Yeah, there's a lot going on here in Montana, and obviously a lot going on all across the nation too. The cool part about this innovation challenge is that it's a global event that is happening. The finals will come up here at the World Ag Expo, and the deadline for entries, similar to your Hempy Awards, maybe some of your Hempy folks will get involved here, but will be the Midwest Hemp Expo. So your expo in Lansing will be the deadline. That's the final time that you can actually enter so right after it, January 22nd will be the last day. So through that whole process, then you get exposure at the World Ag Expo. And so this is where we'll recognize the top leaders in innovation in hemp. And some really great entries have come in. We've got entries from 65 countries and a lot of really, really neat innovations that are happening around the world. So it's great because it's a global challenge, and it's really neat because it gets a worldwide stage there. You've got over 100,000 farmers that will participate in the World Ag Expo in Tulare, and that's in February. That'll be on the 8th through the 10th. So just shortly after there. You'll get a lot of recognition. So companies that make a product or have anything to do with hemp and have an innovation in that area, that's the whole idea, is that you submit those hemp innovations at hempinnovation.space, .space, not .com. And from that point on, then we'll review those different entries and then take that to the next level where it'll get vetted. And so pretty important information. Just the notoriety of the getting mentioned in the Hemp Innovation Challenge as one of the finalists is a really powerful tool for businesses. So even if you don't win or get in on the cash prizes, the notoriety of being a mention and getting vetted, you'll get a lot of business review too. So exciting challenge. Go to hempinnovation.space, and we've got some new partnerships which are really exciting. I consult in this industry, and so we've got a whole variety of new companies that are coming into this space, because if you could spend $1 to meet with a farmer, this would be your chance. So like $100,000 sponsorship to meet with 100,000 farmers, pretty cheap deal, because you could never do it. You could never go out and individually meet with those folks. So it's a unique opportunity for businesses to jump in here. I see some of your sponsors there that are really exciting innovations, like Neogen's innovation with the testing technology. What a fabulous tool that is, and a great innovation just in the last year. I'm sure a lot of your other sponsors there have some great innovations too. So You can also check out, we've got some pretty cool things. We've got my Hemp Yeah shirts. You saw the shirts when I was wearing them around the show. But it's through the Organic Marketing Association. So if you go to Organic Marketing Association, check that out. You can go to organiceatme.com. And at organiceatme.com, we've got all kinds of different hemp shirts and whole varieties of different things that you can put on different types of shirts. So that's kind of my 2 plugs there. But anyway, I look forward to hearing more about what Chuck's going on. There's a lot of great things to support there.
Well, on the Innovation Challenge, John, what kind of prize, besides notoriety, is there a prize for the winner?
Yeah, there's cash. There's cash for it. Chad Rosen there at Victory Hemp was the winner last year. It was only a $5,000 prize for the first time. So we're going to blow that out of the water. We anticipate getting some substantial cash prizes for a variety of categories. But the cash prize is only a portion of it. The notoriety and the global press that you get from it really, truly changed the game for Chad.
Cool.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, just that global press is worth, tens of thousands, if not more,
Yeah. You can't buy it, really. You can't buy that up front of so many press on one trip to Tulare, California. It's just an extraordinary event. And that's where this all culminates. And you get it on a grand stage, a very global stage there to show off your wares.
So, John, I see there's 7 categories we've got listed here. We've got concept, proof of concept, working prototype, scalable product, ready to launch. Launch 1, year 1, and profit. No, those are different things. Didn't get all of it. So there's must be some other ones. So there's 7. What are the other 3 categories?
Well, there's this is somewhat to be determined based on groups of innovations that come in. So we'll be able to determine the final categories. But technology is one of them. Food is definitely one. Medicine, building, finance. So we're looking for ways that really are changing the whole game here across the board in virtually every aspect. I'm sure the number of categories will grow as the number of sponsors grow. We've got about 8 to 9 different sponsors. We hope that if they come in with $100,000 each, boom, we're going to have some really great categories and a lot of really good cash prizes too. If they're smaller, we'll kind of determining that here over the course of the next couple of weeks. But here's the opportunity right now is to contact through Hemp Innovation space. You can just jump on there. There's places that if you're interested in any kind of sponsorship, you can go right in there. There's a page for sponsors to hit.
Blaine, it seems like Neogen would be a perfect one because I know how innovative their testing is and how much money it would save the hemp farmer. Spend a quarter of what you would normally spend, right?
Oh, thousands of dollars if your crop goes out. I mean, you lose everything.
Yeah.
So that being able to test that, certainly that.
And I know they're also working on one for the cannabis folks above 0.3 as well. That'll be available sometime next year, I believe, right?
Yeah, that's what they're talking about.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's even more of a savings than that. And we're talking about a 4 or 5 hour test for $25. Can't beat that. And it gives you direct information that's super fast. That's probably one of the greatest innovations I've seen that could really, changes the game for the farmer. And if anything that lowers the cost for inputs, this is a big part of it. So hopefully we'll get on past the 0.3. We'll get up to 1%. I mean, ideally we'd get on to some of the softest fiber. I'm in the textile side here. The softest fiber is up around 5% THC. So if we really want to compete with China, we should just go ahead and compete instead of having some arbitrary number and percentage of THC. It should be based on.
I'm gonna enter the beast into this contest. I can tell you that because we're at that point that we want to now take that to market. So, we've been able to prove that it works and we can make product out of it. So,
good.
Now we just need a little help with the funding to get it out to the actual marketing place. So.
Yeah, I want to do a little shout out to some really good friends there in Michigan at the World Center for Concrete Technology. I've been supporting research there at the World Center in Alpena, Michigan, and just an amazing group of people and nothing like that facility, to have all the concrete programs in America all joined together in one 2-year program there. So I've had students I've sent back there on scholarships and the research that is possible there at your great little university, your 2-year school is just tremendous. And I look forward to continuing my support of the research.
Are you doing any work with the hempcrete up there? Do you know?
Yeah, we're just now starting because it's really Besser company that kind of runs the place, even though all the big companies, all the whole concrete world, it evolves in and around Alpena. Besser is a private company, but they've got in their shareholder owned. And so there's been this really tough problem of jumping the gap, of all hemp is cannabis, but they throw everything under the bus that everything is cannabis that is bad in some way. And so they've been very reluctant to really get behind a lot of the research. But I think we'll twist their arm here between this group right here and the work that we're doing. We'd like to build a whole new wing to their campus, all built out of all the things you can do with hemp. Not only in Michigan, of course, but all over the world. And this is the place to do the research. This is the place to break the blocks, to test it, to generate the employees that we're going to hire in the building trades, because they will have the experience and they'll have the 2-year degree of working with it. I've been supporting research in alternative products like straw, hemp, flax, any number of things that you can add into it, even industrial waste into block production. We've done tailings. I found myself on the cover of the Concrete Producer magazine based there out of Chicago. And I was featured at the World of Concrete in Las Vegas for the work with using alternative materials into the block. So hemp has got its space. It is coming into block production. It's slow because the industry is slow to adopt it, but it's going to be a monster. And it's all going to start right there in Alpena, Michigan.
John might not be aware of what's going on at Michigan. It's not Michigan Tech, but it's Northern Michigan University. We've discussed that on the show, that big
Right.
test area that's going on. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that, John. Are you?
Yeah, I am a little bit familiar. You guys reached out to me here a few months back, and I provided some kind of free consulting on the deal, but I'd love to be involved in some way because I have a lot of research that I've already completed and participated in a lot of different types of technologies to basically lock up materials.
Yeah, it's really a great remediation because Northern Michigan is a big mining central area, has been for a long time, and boy, the soil up there is really messed up. So,
no, tell me, hey, Michigan, you guys are 50 years ahead of Montana. And thank you so much for the lessons. I'll tell you, you've destroyed a big part of the UP. You've wrecked a big part of your timber industry. And those companies then moved to Montana. You used to have Stimson, and Stimson was your biggest lumber company. And they got done destroying Michigan, and they went after Montana. And they're over in Oregon now, but they've closed probably 20-some mills here in Montana. So did the same trick, basically, with shutting all their mills down, just like they did in Michigan 50 years ago. And same in mining cleanup, too. We've got, I don't know how many hundreds of Superfund sites across Montana. Gorgeous state, beautiful place. It's not all destroyed, don't get me wrong. But there's some major challenges that we face. And hemp is going to be a big part of not only remediation, but also locking in place. It's kind of a broad story, really, the remediation side of this whole thing. But that's something I can consult with, and I work with mining companies. I invented the term green mining. And part of green mining is using these alternative materials like hemp, and then the entire plant. We could take the entire plant and put it into concrete products that would help the mining industry survive.
Cool.
And I see in your little in your bio that you sent in, there's one interesting thing. You also led sponsor for the film on the history of hemp in America, produced for PBS and other networks.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've seen that film.
If you've ever seen like the history of the Lincoln family, the history of bourbon in Kentucky, there's some really classic PBS documentaries that are shot by Kent Masterson Brown. It's a company called Witnessing History out of Kentucky. I mean, he lives with literally hemp buildings across the street from his house. He's just like deeply involved in it. The whole thing started, as a history of hemp in Kentucky. And Dan Eisenstein, the whole thing, he can tell you more. But he got me involved, and I just was hooked from the start. I said, I got to sponsor this film. This is just what's got to happen. So I was the first lead sponsor of the film. The interesting thing about the film, too, is that you've got the name of the film is The Seed and Fiber of Wealth. Doesn't say anything about
Fiber
CBD.
of Wealth.
There's no mention of CBD or medicine. It's the seed and fiber of wealth. And so that's really what my focus has been on, is really the fiber side of this world, and trying to bring in things like the wool industry, which is this other miracle fiber that has been on a downward spiral for the last 20-some years. There's really good opportunities to grow this industry of textiles, and it's going to take significant investments across the board. But it's interesting that the film is really focused on that the seed and fiber of wealth. And it's the history of hemp in America. So it's broadened to the entire America. So, and part of it, what happened was we found out that we had grown hemp in Montana back in 1914 to 1919. We had a military base in Montana, and they grew hemp, and they made products out of it too. So some of that equipment is probably still around in the little town of Chinook, but it used to be Montana College back in the day. Now it's Montana State University that, of course, has this amazing fiber lab, and they're deeply involved in all the aspects of hemp production.
Well, then I'll have to try to find that film then, that documentary, and watch it. How long ago was it done, John?
It's still being shot. So the cool part is, it's in production, and so the production side of it, they do reenactments. So they've got students that are doing reenactments of the key scenes and key parts of history. So it's a big part of the film. It's a big part of how Kent Masterson Brown shoots. And does these cinematography productions is reenactments. So he's the voiceover, he's the guy, he's the deep voice that goes on there. But get some of his other documentaries or watch them on. It's a slower pace, and you could sponsor it. iHemp Michigan could be a part of the sponsorship, and it's forever.
Okay.
Well, we'll have to maybe talk a little bit more about that later on, then how we can maybe be involved in that.
Yeah,
way
sure.
Cool.
Get Kent on the show, and he can tell you from front and center.
So I see. I'm going to jump back to the Hemp Innovation Challenge here for a minute, but now I see that you say that people don't. It says, must I be there to win? And it says, no. If you're a finalist, we will allow you to make your pitch to the judges via remote internet link, like Zoom or Google. Can that pitch be done then during the end of the Agricultural Hemp Expo? Will it be done at that time frame?
No, it would not live like at the event. The winners and all that. The final hoopla will be at the World Ag Expo. All the other betting will happen in that week from between the Midwest Ag Expo, January 22nd. That'll be in the deadline, and then over the course of the next week or so, then we'll review everything that's come in and kind of break it into categories and see where we're at.
Okay, but so what I meant to say was then will that be done then during the World Ag Expo? Is when people
we'll do that in the week prior, probably the week prior to it. Yeah,
okay.
We'll want to have everything vetted. We're trying to vet through that whole thing. I'm not one of the judges, but I don't think I'm going to be one of the judges anyway. We've got 5 judges that are listed out there on our website, and once they review everything, they'll be going through the review process.
So I just want to make a point. You don't have to attend in order to be able to put a application in and be able to participate. That's good.
Yeah, and I think you would want to, if you can possibly get in there, if you're going to be one of the finalists,
Sure.
You should plan to be in Tulare or get out there and you stay in Fresno if you're coming in late, but it would be worth being there because there's no other way to garner the world press. They're standing in front of you, and you can't do that through Zoom. It just doesn't work.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, we know this is where the magic happens. When people get together, either at expos or things like this, that's where the magic happens. That's for sure.
Yeah,
absolutely.
All right. Well, Chuck's been patiently waiting. Let's hear from Chuck a little bit. I want to learn about this Jobonomics, and he's got some initiative with veterans that he's involved with. So, how you doing, Chuck? Thanks for patiently waiting.
I'm sitting here and enjoying. Listen to John. I mean, I'm getting an education here.
Yeah.
Plus, I love Montana. So hope everything's well out there. I'm in the D.C. area. Forgive me, I'm in fantasy land. So
I call that Disneyland East there. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to give a little background for Chuck here. Chuck is the author and the founder of Jobonomics, which deals with mass-producing startup businesses and job enterprising veterans, minorities, women, youth, and other hopefuls in the underserved communities. The Job Economics National Grassroots Movement reached estimated 30 million people via lectures, the Job Economics website, and the Job Economics America TV show. Mr. Vollmer served, and he has a whole list here, so I can't read it all, but Mr. Vollmer served 10 years on active duty in the U.S. Air Force and 13 years with the Air National Guard. He accumulated over 3,000 hours in various fighter aircraft for 175 combat missions in Southeast Asia and received 6 Distinguished Flying Crosses and 11 Air Medals. So that's pretty impressive on itself right there, for sure.
Yeah, thank you, Chuck.
Yes.
People ask me when I fly now, I say, Coach.
Well, I'm a private pilot, so I enjoy that community with you for sure on that. So Chuck, give us a little bit about what it's all about and what you're doing there.
Yeah, it's. So I started this in about 2008. So, and it's a grassroots movement, and it's not a for-profit or non-profit. I don't charge for my services. It's surprising how it's caught on. We've got about 50 chapters in 4 continents, and about 90% of them in the United States. Like I said, I started with about 30 meetings in Congress, and I got nowhere on the left or the right. They really didn't care about a small business approach to economic development. And so we met with the governors and the mayors, but now we're working with more of the local communities, and that's where these chapters are all about. I've written about 15 books on economic community and workforce development, which is amazing for a guy that talks with his hands, the fighter pilot, I spent a lot of time in Wall Street, so I know how the financing side of this thing works. I've got a TV show. We use a PEG media network. My executive producer has got a TV Green Planet show called Emerald Planet. He's done 3,000 shows, and his annual viewing audience is like 70 million people in China, for example, a week. So that's something that we could offer to you, iHemp, if you wanted to get that out. But to cut to the bottom line is that we have about we go to work with these communities. And I say, in the United States, about 2/3 of my communities are African American because we serve underserved and under-resourced communities. They're the most, and they're tired, and they said, "Look, we need something different. Nothing's working." And so we showed them how to mass produce micro businesses and jobs. And so we have about a dozen turnkey programs. And one of them is circular agriculture economy. And what that means is we start off with soil remediation, those type of things. We move on to the education and training, the production, the logistics, and then finally the consumption and the marketing and this stuff. So on each of those areas, let's start off with soil remediation. One of our major programs is called Terra Hyox. It originated out of Colombia. And for example, we are working with, I could show you some pictures here, but maybe they'll just for the next show if there's interest. They're doubling the growth of cannabis and production in Colombia. We're also working with the Panela farmers, and the Panela is ancient cane. It's the raw sugar cane. It's a brown sugar cane. So I mean, they're very similar. The cannabis and the Panela. And we were approached by the Colombians in Peace organization, and especially with the Panela farmers. And what they are interested in is how do you mass produce micro businesses for these subsistence farmers? Now, we have an analogous thing here in the United States in the rural farms, especially the black farmers, and I've met about a dozen times the black farmers, especially down south, they're trying to get in this hemp and they're having difficulty. But they tend to look at more of the crop growing rather than the industrial hemp applications, CBD, and because of the sports. But back to the Panela farmers, these guys are subsistence farmers, and they're very dirt poor, and so they're having a hard time keeping the kids on the farm. And so the kids go down to Bogota, go in the slums, or they go work for the FARC militia, carry a gun, or they work for the drug runners. So we're showing them how you can increase, the circular. We first of all help grow these things in an organic way, and you can't grow organic hops in chemically treated fields, and so you do the soil remediation, okay, and you also you add the things in. So we're trying to get the farmers up, and then we're also trying to sort these mini digital academies to get the kids to stay on the farms and connect them to the internet so they can do e-commerce and content development and those types of things. They're trying to use their interest in social media, even though they're dirt poor. They all have cell phones and stuff. So, shifting gears, one of our most active things is in Alberta. And matter of fact, I've got a conversation this afternoon with a bunch of Alberta in Calgary to create micro farms. I can show you a picture of it, hemp micro farms to grow hemp seedlings. In Alberta, of the 10 publicly traded cannabis companies in the world, 5 of them are located in Alberta. Aurora Sun up in Edmonton's got 2 million square feet under roof by the airport in Edmonton, growing marijuana, or hemp and all cannabis products, marijuana, hemp, the whole 9 yards. But the trick in there, especially in the indoor agriculture, is grow high quality seedlings in an organic way, and so that you can do those. And that's not the industrial side; that's the production side. But we also, in the United States, is that we work with not only the Black community, which is underserved, but the vets. And me being a vet, that's particularly close to my heart. Vets have tremendous amount of borrowing power, and that they don't know about. Only 12% of all the vets. We have 18 million vets in this country. And, for example, not only they get home loans, which everybody kind of tends to know, but the Small Business Advantage Program with the VA and the Small Business Association, they get $5 million microloans, okay, $5 million to start up businesses. And you get low or no down payment. If you're 10% disabled, and most Iraqi vets and stuff like that are disabled because they got hard of hearing or something. And so no down payment, no interest, low interest, no down payment, $5 million. And so what we're doing with the vets, and I'll try to wrap it up so you can ask some more questions, is we work with communities to build these communities of purpose or communities of interest. So, for example, we designed a 1,200 acre controlled environment complex up in Rosebud, California. We can show you the architecture things. And they would do about 2.6 million in square under roof. Now that was going to do more of the vegetables, the seedlings, or those types of things, the high value crops. But we also had about 1,000 acres to outdoor growing, and they were looking at hemp. Okay, and then we built the community centers and the accommodations. Now, what these vets need when they get out, or the thing is, they need two things. They need a nice place to live and accommodations. And they need a job. And rather than a job, we end up creating these micro businesses for them, which is a job in a particular area. And this is an agricultural community. They're doing all the circular agriculture types of things. Now on the accommodation side, for example, you in Michigan or you in Montana, you want to take 500 acres and build an iHemp village or industrial thing in there and attract kind of guys that have borrowing power and got some good skills. The vets can also borrow up to about $1 million to build these fourplexes. And, that's 204plex divided into a million is about 250. So they're at $250,000. They can get something smaller. But we've got alliances with a number of the home builders and stuff like that. So if I get 100 vets and they could all borrow $1 million, and that's not a big deal for a lot of these veteran-owned businesses, I got a $100 million development fund. Okay, so you build the accommodations, and in the accommodations, each of these are going to be all 5G capable. So not only does a vet, going to have a job, he's going to be a landowner, okay, and he can rent the other 3 out. Plus, each of these units are going to have internet capabilities. So we're going to train and certify the spouse and the kids into e-commerce and those kind of things. So now we create these family limited partnerships. This gets a little, esoteric here, but let me get, so they own, and they got to think, and then they can go out and compete for not only the startup funding and the VA back, but the opportunity zone funding and all this money that is out there now that the Democrats are printing, and it's just not the Democrats. It started off with President, Trump and COVID. But if you add the COVID and the American Rescue Plan and the infrastructure plan and this new reconciliation bill, it equals $18 trillion. Okay. And we have this thing called Social Determinants of Health Program that takes a look at all the things, everything from all our programs are involved with that. And of that 18 trillion, 9 is unspent. Okay. And if you say, if for this kind of community that we're just talking about, this hemp village, things for under-resourced, let's say only $1 trillion of the 9 trillion that's unspent is allocated. That means each one of your congressmen, and in Montana or in Michigan, can get up to about $2.3 billion, if they divide 435 congressmen into, $1 trillion. I mean, we're talking big money. Mm-hmm. And they're trying to get this thing under, allocated, because they don't want to change the administration or the change of flipping the Congress, next year. They're trying to get this stuff allocated. Trillion. Just the COVID funding it's just amazing amount of money. But what they need is some kind of big deal, program. And that's what we're working with a number in Buffalo, New York, and in Oslo County, Jacksonville, North Carolina. We're working with these county and the city economic developments, and they're getting their Congress people and to get some earmarks. Earmarks is not a politically correct word, but get some things in there. So if I had to get off the stage now, which I will, if I was an iHemp group, and I would put together, I'd rather than look at bunch of singles, it's a unique time in history. I'd go for a great grand slam, go for a $200-300 million kind of program that, takes a large chunk out of Montana or Michigan or wherever you're going to do it. Put together a complete package, from the remediation to the growing to the education to the training to all the industrial products, and we can get you onto all the e-commerce sites and how you do that. And it's just amazing how that rural communities are no longer at a disadvantage in the global market. So I'm sorry for that tutorial.
What you've just actually outlined is the long-term plans of the Hero Project. What we hope to do is exactly what you just described once this thing gets up and running over the next couple of years. So maybe there's an opportunity here for us to work with iHemp and you and John and see if we can actually get that moving forward. Hopefully, well, I don't know what's going to happen in the elections for a year from now, but right now the money's available, so go for it, right?
Yeah. Well, even without the this magic, fairy dust thrown out there, the trillions of dollars, and the VA funding still is there. We have a group we're associated with Heroes Homes that specializes in crowdfunding of veterans. You go back to the 100 vets, 1 million apiece, and $100 million development fund. That's already in. That's already done.
Huh.
And
John, how do people, if they want to go down this road and look at this and look at the funding and possibility for it, how do they start? Where do they go?
That's Blaine. That's a pretty straightforward question. Is that what we do is we go in and we work with this. We start a grassroots movement. We got 4 guys on the screen plus me right now. That's where it starts. Okay, and plus you got media outlets and all the rest of stuff. And so we take an area, pick a place, and usually it's better to do it in a more of a brown field or a rural development, because it's usually, the urban areas are tougher, because of the bureaucracies. You build a coalition. You go coalition. And a coalition is you got your political leaders, which I try to keep at a minimum, because they're good at supplementing but not leading. Okay, they're there for the ribbon cutting ceremony. But in today's situation, but then we need the local leaders, the business guys, and then we need the banking kind of guys, because some of them you got to get some skin in the game, and then you got to get the developers, the real estate developers, and they're the ones that are really the kingpins, because now when you start talking about a mixed use community, their ears perk up. I can build, homes, and I can build shopping centers, and I can build convenience stores. And by the way, we're associated with sprung structures. I don't know if you ever seen sprung structures or anything. Elon Musk just built this third assembly line out of this thing. It's amazing stuff. Jeff Bezos just built his headquarters at Blue Horizon. I deal directly with the CEO. We can get 100,000 square foot, indoor agriculture thing up in 4 months, and up and operational. And we've got all sorts of plans. We get these these 10,000 square foot, half growing for controlled environment agriculture, and the other half for retail or whatever convenience stores that people are, the small ones. We can get it up for $47 a square foot, the structure alone, and we can get it up in a month or two. And it's really quite innovative. So when we're going into these communities, it's not like it's going to be 5 years and all the rest of the stuff. We're talking about turnkey within a year. I mean, operation.
I'm working with a group that's trying to develop a 5 million square foot indoor grow at the Fort Custer area in Battle Creek that would be aimed at cannabis and hemp. Now, that would just be a grow. It wouldn't be that mixed-use development you're talking about, because it would be in an industrial park. But again, there's lots of things we can talk about after the show is over.
Yeah, I could show you a picture right now of an 8-acre indoor grow that starting in Calgary.
This would be 100 acres.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Again, the nice thing about what they did in Aurora Sun up in Edmonton, they did this all glass structure, the stuff. Using these, and I'm not advertising Sprung. The Sprung that we're talking about is you can repurpose it. Okay, it's kind of portable, and it's a clear span structure, and it's very useful. And if it doesn't, and expandable. So you start off with 8 acres, and you start growing, and you just keep kind of adding, Lego blocks on this thing, and grow to whatever it is. And then when you're starting to contract, then you can take these things down. They took this 8-acre greenhouse, and it was 1 acre under roof, eight of these units. And for some reason, it wasn't making the kind of money it was. And so they transported it from Alberta to Newfoundland. Okay. And it's operational in north of the Arctic Circle in Newfoundland. Huh. And growing stuff. And I'm not sure I can show you pictures of it, but it's really kind of phenomenal. There are a lot of innovative things out there. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, Chuck, we need your help out here. I mean, obviously in Montana, we just have one chance to grow. We need to have food production throughout the year. We have the highest percentage of veterans of any state. Guys get done with the head banging, whatever. They want to go to Montana. They come out here.
Well, no, I love Montana. Last time I was out there, I was working with Cedric Black Eagle, the chairman of the Crow Indian Nation.
Fantastic.
And they got a tall order. I mean, it's a beautiful reservation. It's gorgeous, but the drug dependency rate is north of 50% and stuff. It's tough. It's tough to do, but Montana, I won't charge anything. You paid my way out there. I'll come out and I'll work with you guys.
Wonderful. I look forward to working with you. We need your help, and all those programs would be really a great advantage. We have more than 100,000 veterans here in the state of Montana, so I'm sure a lot of them are missing out.
Oh, yeah. veterans are sweet because you can know what their MOS is, or their military occupational service and stuff like that. And especially there's 200,000 vets that get out every year. And so to be able to track those guys, now you got the veterans that are been out for a while. You know, a lot of them have substance abuse problems, PTSD. And I had PTSD. I mean, you know, 175 combat missions. I shot a lot of people. You know, that kind of screws up your, you know, your gyros. I'm normal now, I think.
Well, one of the things that we looked at, too, part of the Hero Project, is the benefit of getting veterans in the agricultural community is being around the plants, being in that agricultural setting seems to calm them down a lot and minimize, or can't really eliminate, but minimize the PTSD and some other mental health issues that they're having. So this is a really great project.
Yeah, you know, a lot of these guys, you know, especially in the inner cities, we use, for example, the black communities that are really depressed. We use black veterans. You know, a sergeant has got a retirement income about $50,000-$60,000, depending on what he did. And most of these underserved communities, the household income is only $15,000. So, I mean, and plus, these are kick-ass kind of guys. You know, they're able to take wayward youth, criminals, gang members, and turn them into fully functioning sailors, soldiers, and Marines within 6 months. And so, having that talent, and you know, and having the retirement income, and then having the borrowing capability, these guys can come in and do that. And plus, they're all really interested in, especially the combat vets. You know, combat. I mean, there's a difference between a non-combat vet and you know, and I mean, anybody that's got the PTSD and a non-PTSD, and because it, you know, combat sets your default down into the dark area, and you know, you just never get rid of it. It's always there, and so the camaraderie and the mission, and having the older vets teach the younger vets, and, you know, and helping hands with vets. And, you know, you can have mild PTSD for your whole life, but, you know, you don't have to, PTSD doesn't mean you're a wacko, you know, just means that you're subject to depression, and you're subject to, you know, those types of things, like, or more prone to alcohol abuse, you know, those types of things. But that's what this 1,200 square acres, this community we designed specifically for vets, you know, in California. Now, I never went. We had everything, and money and everything. And what happened is the governor wouldn't, you know, for some reason, they wouldn't give us the thing because of the water shortage on the Colorado River. And we tried to argue the indoor agriculture was, you know, used 90% less water, but they said, well, you're still going to do 1,000 acres of outdoor stuff. And so we weren't able to get the permit at the very last minute. But it's all there, and the architectural drawings, everything that we could just pour it over to you, and you could take a look at it. And the business plans are all written. Wow. And all you got to do is take out, you know, vegetables and put in hemp, you know, or whatever. And by the way, the most profitable, other than, you know, CBD type of things, indoor agricultural product is wasabi now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, wasabi, the Japanese hot. I mean, you know, the return on investment, that's just through the roof. Now, that's a limited market, but
something like it hot, right? So
yeah, something like it hot. Yeah. Okay, I'll shut up. I'm sorry, but if I can get your email addresses, I'd be happy to send you some of this stuff. You know, I don't have John's or I don't have anybody actually. Kate,
have it all when we get done.
Kate's got all that. Kate O'Hara. So
yeah, she'll take care of us.
Yeah, it sounds wonderful. Just got to find a location here in Michigan, and that's where we rely on Blaine and Dave with some of their connections there. But I've got the banking connections. I've got all sorts of media connections. I mean, we could pull this together fairly quickly, I think.
Yeah. I used to have an office up in north of Detroit, in Warren, Michigan, and so. Yeah, I'm familiar with parts.
And water's no issue in Michigan. Boy, we've gotten so much rain.
Yeah.
You know, so we got plenty of water. You know,
as long as you're not in Flint, right?
Yeah.
It's just heavy. That's all.
Well, John, we'll go back to you for a second. So, John, what's the best way to people to get the information and be able to make their application for the hemp the hemp challenge?
The hemp challenge is go to hempinnovation.space. That's the best thing. There's tons of information there. To order shirts and custom shirts, they go to organiceatme.com. And
Organic Eat Me?
The innovation, bring the innovations out. Bring all your innovations to hemp. Get everything together. Anybody that's going to be in the Hempy Awards, we'd like them to apply for it too. Maybe I can even make it back for the Midwest Hemp Expo.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
So we caught the first one with the T-shirts you said were hemp organic something?
Yeah, organiceatme.com.
Organic Eat Me.
Yeah, organiceatme.com. And there's tons of different designs. You can get them for wheat. You can get them. Some are a little racy. Others are really just good tongue-in-cheek type funny things.
Mm-hmm.
Check it out.
But it's all in support of organic agriculture. The key is to really grow the organic marketing for the industry, grow it in a positive way versus just kind of making everybody the poisoners that are the non-organic side. And so working together, basically just trying to grow a better crop and do it organically and really promote it. And so this promotes all the organic brands is through the Organic Eat Me, the Organic Marketing Association. So I started that about 4 years ago. And so it's been really important. I've been supporting Montana organic farms. We have about 315 here, but it's only still about 1% of our total group of farms. But we've got a lot of space out here, a lot of room to grow hemp, and a lot of people are doing some really great things here. There's great companies in Montana that are really pushing the hemp product forward. So look forward to being a part of the next steps here, both for our veterans. Gosh sakes, there's some great opportunities there. And I think we can start to make our building products in a more sustainable way so that it makes a more complete community.
We've got a building project we're working on here for a gal that has very, very severe allergic reactions to most of the chemicals that are used in buildings. So we're trying to walk down the road of building a hemp house as much as we can out of hemp. So that'll be exciting as we move forward on that. So, yeah. And Chuck, one more time, the best way to get a hold of you and to get a hold of the information on this is how? Yeah,
the website you can see in the back there is jobonomics.com. And go to the library. I've got probably, I got 100 reports and all the city and state initiatives and stuff like that. But and you can email me at cvollmer@jobonomics.com and be happy to work with to build coalitions. For example, I talked about this 1,200 acre. Why don't we do that all out of hemp industrial products?
Yes.
A veteran whole, thing, industrial products, go for government underwriting, because of the construction costs a little higher than other things, but they can underwrite it to get the hemp products, going. And the government underwrites everything else, from homes to college educations, everything else. So that might be a very interesting play for building a whole community from industrial hemp activities done by industrial hemp and for industrial hemp production.
So that's C. Vollmer at jobeconomics.com, right?
Yeah, leave the eck out of it. It's just Jobonomics.
Jobonomics. Okay.
No eck.
Okay. Super. Well, thanks, guys. We appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedules to inform everybody and let everybody know what's going on there. We hope to have a lot of people enter this Hemp Innovation Challenge. Certainly, I know there'll be a couple from Michigan for sure coming in, and they will be able to get a few more to get involved in that. So, anything before we get into the last part of the show?
No,
Mike,
I've got the recipe queued up.
Your show next week? Dave, I think you're on mute.
No, I heard him.
Oh, did you? Okay.
I've got your recipe queued up, Lane.
Sweet. Thank you very much. So just a couple things before we get into that. Here we go, my notes here. So Coming up in December, first part of December, is Hemp at the Crossroads. That's near Indianapolis. So be a good time to meet down there. And again, folks, this is where the magic happens. We can do all this kind of stuff. We can do all the virtual stuff, but that face-to-face contact, talking, and finding out what other people are doing is where that magic happens. So that's one of the first ones coming up for there. And then, of course, the expo in Lansing that we're going to have, going to be the 21st and 22nd. And then the day before will be how to be able to use the U.S. Hemp Authority certification, how to go down that steps to do that. And actually, it's any third party. This will be a good training for that situation. That's on the 20th. $400 will be the cost for that. If you're an iHemp member, you're going to be able to get it for $300. So membership has its benefits, and that's just one of them there. So. And again, if you're doing any hemp-related stuff where you can enter into the Hempies contest, we're going to add a new category onto that, Dave. We were talking about it last night. We're going to add building materials in there, but I'll talk with you a little bit about that. So, because we really don't have that category. We want to be able to get that hemp putter in there somehow. So,
there we go.
We want to do that. So, all right. So with that, we are going to.
Yeah, the best part of the show is coming up here. So.
Yeah, this is the good part of the show, and if I can find my hat.
And I'm going to have to log off. So thanks for having me on here, and looking forward to working with you guys.
All right.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Chuck.
Thank you, Chuck.
Thanks, Chuck. Where's my new hat? Goodness, I don't have all my props today.
Uh-oh.
What is that up on top of the footer?
Ah, there it is. See, I need Becky here to help me keep things. There we go.
Gotta have the Emperor's hat.
There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the good one. Yep. So today's recipe is pumpkin spice hemp heart oatmeal. I don't even know why they call it oatmeal, because really it's hemp hearts is what it really is. So it's a wonderful, yummy meal. And this is, we want to give credit where credit's due. This is by Flav City with Bobby Parrish. This is a low carb oatmeal recipe using ingredients dense in keto approved hemp hearts cooked in coconut milk with pumpkin spices. Good thing for this time of year. A little cold out there today. This would be a great pick-me-up and a great energy one for the morning. So really a simple situation here. I like simple things. Hemp hearts, some water, almond milk, salt, cinnamon, cloves, nutmeg, ginger, allspice, 2 tablespoons of monk fruit sweetener, and 2 tablespoons of full-fat coconut milk or cream. And then you you add the milk and the water to a small pot and kind of cook all that up for about 35 minutes. You slow cook it for 35 minutes, stirring often. And you check for the seasoning after about 5 minutes. And some people say you might want to add a little more monk fruit or pumpkin spices to it. So enjoy it. Put whatever your spices, how you like it in there. And so 575 calories. So it's not too bad there. So it sounds like a very great, good morning pick-me-up on these cold mornings. So pumpkin spice hemp heart oatmeal. You can find all of those on the hemp recipes on the upper right-hand corner there. Where we have hemp recipes, and we've got all of them in there. So a lot of great ones if you're ever looking at something to do, and you got a lot of great recipes there. So I want to thank everybody for joining us today. Next week is the 28th. It's going to be a really good talk with Andrew Bish. We're going to talk about all the innovations that are coming with harvesting equipment and processing equipment and what they've been able to do for the industry. A lot of great products and machines they've been able to put out. So I want to thank everybody. Anything for the last before we close off, guys?
Nope.
All right.
No,
All right.
sir.
Well,
Thanks again, John.
Hemp hooray!
Thanks,
There
John.
we go.
That's right. Organic Eat Me.
Yeah, I'm going to go there and look at those shirts.
Yeah,
we'll
you
check
can
it
order
out.
those up. They're organic cotton right now, but we want to get organic hemp in there as soon as we can.
All right, well, we'll work on that.
Keep up the great work, John.
Great. Thanks,
All right.
guys. Look forward
See
to
you all
seeing you
next
out there
week.
soon.
All right.
Okay.